Much more that I'm excited to get into with you all today. For the agenda, I definitely wanted to start out with a debrief. Some of y'all were in DC for Nurses Shift Change, and some of us were watching from the stream, from the Zoom, wishing that we could be there with you. So before we get into the events on tonight, if Dr. McCamey or Dr. Roman wanted to let us know a debrief. What happened out there in DC? What was y'all doing and what's next?
What's up, y'all? I can't see myself, but it's all good. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the Nurses Shift Change rally. For those that don't know me, I am Danielle McCamey. I'm the founder, CEO, president of DNPs of Color. Thanks for zooming in tonight with us for our policy game night. And then I'm also one of the co-leads, co-founders of Nurses Shift Change. And Nurses Shift Change is a super grassroots movement where we've decided to rally together under humanity, ethics, social justice, and science. We call it HES. And this year we did our second annual Report for Duty rally, and we were rallying for access to quality healthcare. We were rallying because nursing is a profession. We were rallying for access to primary care, protecting Medicaid, Medicare, and also protecting the planet. And so we were on the lawn of the Capitol, and we had folks coast to coast representing. We doubled our attendees from last year and had the opportunity to have special guests come and speak. Dr. Justin Gill, who's from Washington State, Dr. Monica McLemore, Rebecca Love, Sandy Summers, and a whole host of other nurse shifters out there rallying together. We had some dancing. We had DJ Harvey Dent on the ones and twos getting us hype. After the rally, we did a Capitol Hill Day. So we visited with our legislators just to share about our policy agenda, and it was great. And so we look forward to next year having a Report for Duty rally. And the vision is like, can we as a profession for one day forget about the agendas and the bureaucracy, unify for the Report for Duty rally in DC on the foundations of nursing, humanity, ethics, social justice, and science. And that's the ultimate goal and ultimate vision of Nurses Shift Change. And we also host a variety of webinars, call to actions, and stuff like that. So, but the rally was dope. So if you didn't make it out, definitely make it out for next year, and excited to be here tonight. And Roberto, I don't know if you want to co-sign on any thoughts from the rally, if you can.
I'm sorry, I got bumped off for a second, but yeah, the rally definitely was, a moment in our movement. So it's just showing that we're getting started, we're moving forward. This was second rally, so definitely a lot of fun to meet people that we've seen virtually, talk to virtually, and finally see in person in DC. And the message was loud and clear for humanities, ethics, social justice, and science. And we have a lot of work to do, but we got the people moving forward with it. So I think someone posted, I think Michael did, one becomes two, two becomes three, and we're definitely on that route.
That is so awesome. One becomes one, two becomes three. And tonight we have 14. So that may not seem like a lot of people, but what we know is that it doesn't always take a lot of people. Sometimes it just takes all of us being on one page, one band, one sound. I am going to share my presentation if I can find it. Y'all let me know if you can see it here. We have can you see this? What are y'all seeing?
We see the full
If I
PowerPoint.
hit play. Oh, okay. So you do see it. Okay. So I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. I mentioned right at the start of this that I just finished my DNP and PH dual degree, and I'm not going to go through my whole poster, but what I will say is that for my project, part of my project was completing an advocacy toolkit for DNPs of color, and I'm so excited to debut that and share that with you all tonight. But also, what I was looking at in my project was strategies to mitigate mistrust and increase Black American primary care utilization, thinking about um, what actually is an intervention that's proven for improving health outcomes. And primary care was one of those interventions. And from that, different ways to raise and increase primary care utilization. What ended up coming of all of this is that community partnerships are absolutely huge. They're imperative. And what are community partnerships? Community partnerships are you and I getting out into our community with the organizations that we work for, the organizations that we're aligned with, getting out in the community, having an ear to the ground, and raising the concerns of the community to those who are in positions of power. So if you were at the DNPs of Color conference in October, we were in Oakland and we had a great time. And in Oakland, I presented on the topic of rest, rise, and organize, talking about, you know, how to engage civically. I think that a lot of people like myself would sit back and look at an organization like Nurses Shift Change and go, oh, I want to be a part of that. Oh, them people are out there saying some stuff. They're killing it. But I don't really know if I'm prepared to step out and advocate in those ways. Do I really understand what it looks like to play the game of policy and politics? So we will circle back on some of that tonight, but I want to mention there are 435 House seats on the ballot. There are 35 Senate seats that are being contested for these midterms. Election day is November 3rd. And when we think about what just happened with the Voting Rights Act, when we think about gerrymandering, when we think about the ways that the law is wielded to act as a weapon of oppression to the communities that a lot of us come from, we no longer have the luxury of sitting on the sideline. This is the bingo card for tonight. I was trying to figure out how to attach it. Okay, Dr. McCamey got me. I was gonna say, take a screenshot, y'all, and when you get bingo, holler it out. Got something for you. With most of you being virtual, that'll be coming in the mail. So, but if you just take a look at the bingo card and the things on here that we're talking about, nursing education, right? Workforce diversity. We've already talked about nurses shift change. Allostatic load, what does that have to do with any of this? Hello. When you hear these things being mentioned throughout the rest of the evening, please, please, please holler bingo. Don't put it in the chat. Come off your mic and make some noise because it's game night. So let's have some fun. All right. What do you know about? Oh, am I talking too quiet? I'm sorry. What do you know about your position? If policy and politics is a game, what is your position on the field? Where are you going? Are you running around like the 5-year-olds who don't know which direction to shoot for the goal? Or do you know where you're supposed to be and know what your role is and how to play your role? If you don't know who your legislators are, full stop. That is step one. And you can just go to congress.gov, enter your zip code, and be able to see who your legislators are, what district you're in. You can put them in the chat. Yes, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. Because if you don't know who the people are that you are needing to communicate with, if you don't know about their backgrounds, you can find all of that out by going to congress.gov, finding who your legislators are. I tell people all the time, read their bios, know what they're about, know where their interests lie. Real quick example, Rick Larson is my representative in District 2 in Washington State. Rick is from a small town called Arlington. He's Democratic, on paper, right? But he's a small town dude. He's really big on technical careers like Boeing, which makes sense because it's a huge employer there. So you get a feel for who these people are. You get a better understanding of how to talk to them, what to tap into to have their ear. For your state reps, you can go to your legislative website and put find my representative. In the toolkit, there's QR codes and links to all of this. So if it seems like I'm going through things kind of fast or you don't know where to find things, bear with because we have a gift for you. You can go to usa.gov/elected-officials. You can go to votesmart.org. GovTrack.org is a great way to just follow legislation. And listen, personally, if I don't understand something, I like to sit back and watch. GovTrack.org is a great way to just follow a piece of legislation. What are they talking about with vetoing the RISE bill? Let me look at this. Let me follow this. And they'll send notifications and let you know when there's movement. Okay. Meeting with legislators is a huge part of how we advocate. And the thing that excites me about nurses meeting with legislators is we know what we're talking about. Sometimes they're so far from the community, and all they're hearing from is special interest people, other folks who are not engaging with their constituents day in and day out. So, a meeting with a legislator is never something that a nurse should be intimidated by because literally you can go to the meeting and talk about your last day at work. What kind of patients did you encounter? What are some of the things that are challenging them? What do people actually need who they are representing? Because they want to get reelected. So, they want to know these things so that they are actually working for their people. So let's talk about these midterms. Oh my goodness. I don't know whether to be excited or scared. Actually, I'm always excited about it because when you know how to play the game of policy and politics, you don't have to be scared. Primaries have already started. Depending on what state you're in, you may have already voted for your primary, or mine aren't until August. So it's really important to know when your state primaries are happening, and you can go to your state legislative website to find that out. You can Google when are my primaries, or you can scan the QR code in the toolkit and it'll take you there. It's so important that we vote in the primaries. I don't know if you all are aware of this. I'm sure that a lot of you probably are. But one of the biggest issues that folks had with Kamala Harris being a candidate for the presidential race was that she was on no one's primary ballot. If you recall, Joe Biden was on the ballot and they made the change later. And so a lot of people were going, this should be illegal. We didn't vote for her. We didn't even put her on the primary ballot. So primaries are hugely important and can actually determine subsequent races. So find out when your primaries are, make sure you're registered to vote and participate. Know who's running for what and what kind of issues they're running on. Election day is November 3rd. That's the final day to vote. Okay. So if you're in a state where you can vote by mail, like Washington State, cool. If you're not, you got to have a plan. If it's a PTO day, you got to have a plan. And one of the things that I think we know more than a lot of other groups is that that's actually worthy of a PTO day. Many of the rights that we are exercising today in melanated skin, in as diverse language users, were earned through voting. So if nobody else is going to the polls, we should be going to the polls. November 4th or January 3rd is that post-election time where leadership is being elected, newly elected folks are getting oriented to their roles, and then we will get 120th Congress. Congress changes over every 2 years. We are in the 119th Congress now, going into the 120th Congress. And we don't know what that power is going to look like because we don't know who's going to be a part of that Congress, but we actually get to design that with our votes. One of the priorities for DNPs of Color is civic engagement and nurse leadership. And a great way to engage and to be a leader is to let everyone know when your state primaries are, and let people know, how do you register to vote? Can I actually vote? One of the things that's happening right now is a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are afraid to find out because they're like, well, do I have a situation where my ID is messed up and something bad is going to happen to me because I can't prove that I'm a citizen? There are ways that you can go online to see if you're registered to vote. So definitely encouraging that. We are the largest healthcare workforce. Nurses are the largest healthcare workforce. So if nurses vote, we should be like the voice of healthcare. Yes, the physicians are cute over there doing their thing. Yes, the physical therapists and all, they do important work and we love them. But if all nurses came together and voted, especially if we got on the same page with our priorities, we would be shaping healthcare with our vote alone. All right, so your position, you're a nurse. You are the person who can go and talk to legislators and let them know exactly what's happening with their constituents. That's our role, raising the voice of the communities that we serve to the ear of the people in positions of power. You got to know who you're playing with. That's the next part. Now you know your role. Okay, point guard, you know what you're supposed to do. But if you pass to that guy, is he going to turn the ball over? Because we don't need that, right? We're trying to get to the goalpost. So, understanding what committee assignments people are on. For example, Rick Larson, my example, one of my representative in District 2, he's on the Transportation Committee. Why is that important for me to know? Because talking to Rick about my experiences flying as of late, ghetto, talking to Rick Larson about the price of gas, hello, that is something that makes sense. But talking to him in particular about some of the healthcare things that we worry about, maybe I don't need to go so deep. He has a vote. I want his ear. But I also want to make sure that I'm putting the most of my time and energy into people who have really relevant positions to my issue, like Health and Appropriations Committee. I want to know who's on that committee, and I want to know if there's someone who's in my district or in my state, somebody that I can actually get an appointment with. You can check votesmart.org to look at someone's healthcare voting record. When I said earlier he's Democratic on paper, I meant that because a lot of times you'll see, oh, this person's a Democrat, and it's easy to think, well, they believe these things and these things. No, 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 no. You don't know nothing until you look at that voting record, right? How someone's registered and how they vote might not always be what we think. So, understanding their voting record, you can look for anything healthcare related and kind of get a feel for that. And then you got to know, okay, is this somebody who's a champion, somebody who's with us and can elevate our voice? Is it somebody who's an ally? I consider Representative Larson an ally, not a champion. He's not really charging forward with healthcare issues. He's like, oh yeah, I agree with that. That sounds good. So he needs a little bit of a push. And trust me, I meet with him every single year. And there's all kinds of different people that come and meet and do these little dinner parties and whatever else. But there's not a lot of people talking about nurses. There's not a lot of people who are talking specifically about HR1. That blew my mind. I thought people were going to be up in arms about that. When I tell you them jokers was talking about the Epstein files, I kid you not. So we need nurses in the room. We need to be in those rooms. They will derail in a minute. And it might be somebody who's undecided. So when I talk about harnessing your energy to where it's going to make the most sense for you to put the energy there. For example, Patty Murray, she's one of our senators. She's a champion for abortion rights and women's health. I don't know that I've ever sat down. No, I don't think I've ever sat down in a meeting one-on-one with Patty Murray. I know how she's going to vote. I know what her voting record is. I know she is a champion. I don't need to put a lot of time and energy into that. But there are other people who are in my district that I'm like, they're kind of all over the place with this. They need to talk to an expert. You know who the expert is? You. The expert is us, right? Their staff are going to be the first line of contact. So make sure that you're kind to them. Don't ever be nasty, like, oh, I was holding for this long or nobody ever gets back to me. You're never going to get through the bodyguard to the person you want to talk to, unless you are kind and butter them up and hey, so and so, my friend, my whatever. Your um what did we used to call them, pen pal. Your pen pal, right? That's the person you're emailing. That's the person who's controlling their schedule. I've had so many legislators be like, absolutely, I want to meet with you, I want to talk to you, let's connect, right? And then I have to go through their staffer, and that was a different story. It wasn't as easy as the legislator might have made it seem. So that's a relationship to build. So know how to classify people. Are they a champion? Are they ally? Are they undecided? I'm going to share this presentation with y'all because the way I set it up was just to understand the how on the left and the what on the right. So you would be able to go through and say, who are these people? Are they a champion, an ally, undecided? And go from there. You've got a checklist here. What are their committee assignments? How have they voted on health equity bills? What are their known priorities? What kinds of pieces of legislation have they sponsored? And what is their staffers' contact information, which I cannot stress enough. I want to check in and make sure, okay, that we're good on time. So we've got midterms coming up. We want nurses to be one band, one sound. We've got to contact our legislators, build relationships with their staffers, and a lot is on the line, especially with the changes being made to the Voting Rights Act. For those who may not really understand what just happened with Louisiana versus, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Calais. It used to be that there's, I don't know, I'm going to try to summarize this in a way that makes sense. You used to couldn't draw a map to have a white majority. So you're drawing the map that way so that one population has more power on paper than another population. This goes back to calling Black Americans 3/5 human. The reason that that was done was having to do with the power of the vote, and being able to ensure that places who had a lot of Black residents had less voting power. That might sound because it is. And that's what 76, Washington versus Davis. It had to do with the airline industry. And the plaintiffs were suing, saying this test is unfair. A disproportionate amount of Black folks fail the, let's say it was the pilot exam. I can't remember exactly for sure what exam, but it had to do with aviation. They lost the case because the ruling was, unless you can prove that it was intentionally discriminatory, you don't have a case. They didn't explicitly say that in Louisiana versus Calais, this Voters' Rights Act gutting that we're talking about. The first blow was in 2013. I don't have time to get into that, but this was like the final kind of blow. They were able to do that because they're going back off of other cases similar to that. Law and policy are it's a feedback loop. It's a feedback loop. So our engagement right now is needed more than ever. We can shift change because we are the trusted community messengers for the communities that we represent. They trust us, number one trusted profession for decades, right? They trust us. And so we have to carry the messages that they're trusting us with to our legislators. Okay. All right. We've got a lot to think about with this one. What's going to happen with workforce diversity when people can't access education due to student loan limitations imposed by the RISE Act at the Department of Education? I don't know if y'all are looking at your bingo cards, but I'm working overtime here trying to get somewhere. All right. So we're going to open up for some discussion, um, just kind of talking about what's coming up. What are we, make sure that everybody's on the same page, one band, one sound. If there's something that you don't understand, please ask. I have been neck deep in this for the past 3 years. And there's some other baddies on the call who can also help answer some questions. You have a whole policy committee in DNPs of Color, and I'm going to share the priorities in a moment here. But if you're thinking about one thing that you can do, Roberto said earlier, this is a moment in a movement. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I sit back and I'm like, what would I have been doing during the March on Washington? What would I have been doing if I was alive, during the Montgomery bus boycott? Would I have really been walking out there? Would I have been carpooling? Like, what would I have been doing? This is a moment in a movement where each one of us gets to make a commitment and say, I will participate in this movement, and here is how. What's one issue that you care enough about to say, I'm going to meet with my legislator and tell them what I know, listen to their concerns, answer questions? What's one thing? Can you schedule that meeting with your legislator during the session? Can you put together like a 1 minute pitch, a 60-second pitch beforehand, which, by the way, in the toolkit, there's help doing that, right? What's one thing that you can commit to? Writing a policy brief. You don't want to meet with somebody, you don't want to talk to somebody, you can put together a policy brief and send it to them. But nurses have to stand up. When I came into nursing, it was like, oh, nursing is apolitical. We're for everybody. We don't lean this way or lean that way. We just kind of go with the flow and just make sure everybody feels good and is okay. We know better than that now. So I'm going to share with you all a policy commitment card that you can fill out yourselves in the next 30 days, right? In the next 30 days, what's one thing that you can do to be a part of the movement? Because it's cool to sit and watch everybody with the microphones in DC, and they're at the Capitol and we got music playing and we're doing, but all of that means nothing if we don't show up and commit to showing up and commit to raising the voice of nurses and the communities that we represent. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second and see if there's anybody here.
I don't want to
Um,
yell, but I think I have bingo.
well, you should yell.
I don't want to be rude and interrupt you. Sorry.
No, I was hoping somebody. I'm like, man, I'm trying to check in and make sure. Yay, yay! What you got,
I
Quinny?
think so, but let me see. All right.
You tell me.
All right. So I have DNP of color. No, sorry, ignore that one. It's
Oh,
workforce diversity, nurse shift change, a free space, one band, one sound, and full practice authority.
you know what? Is anybody challenge that? I think you might have a bingo, my friend. Yay.
Yay.
Okay. Yay. So I have something for you. So um I'm gonna send you in the chat a private message, and then we'll keep on keeping on. Yay, I'm so glad someone got bingo. I was like, it's gonna be
Thank
amazing.
you.
Nobody gets it. And there's 3 gifts total. I'm trying to find these. Okay, there you go. All right, y'all. What questions do y'all have? Or do you just want to see the toolkit? Uh-oh. We got food coming over here. Y'all, I'm sorry, we can't share the wings and the pizza and the food with you. But you are missing out. We are out here in Baltimore. Okay. All right, I've sent that your way. Who here, by a show of hands, um, was present for the nurses shift change rally, for any part of it, for the pregame, for the day of, streaming, in person? Show of hands. I see 1. Yes, 2. All right. So, you know what this means to me? That's so exciting. Look at the opportunity in this room today. Roberto, would you be so kind, my partner and the chair of the policy committee, to drop in the chat the Nurses Shift Change website?
Absolutely.
Everybody who didn't raise your hand, this is a moment in a movement. And for the movement to move, we need momentum. Momentum. So please check that out. Get active. Whatever it is that you can do, do that. One of the things about policy work, I think people can get very overwhelmed if you want to do everything. You hear so much on the news, you see so much on social media. What is your thing? If you haven't written your personal mission statement, can I just encourage you to please do that? My personal mission statement is that I rep for health equity. Rep stands for representation, education, and policy. If it has to do with nursing, with healthcare, and one of those things, I know I'm in. That's my position. But that comes from really kind of teasing out what are the things that I deeply, deeply care about. So I am on Dr. McKamey's computer, but I have mine right here. So give me just a second because I really want to share. Actually, 1 second, y'all. We're going to put the legislative priorities from DNPs of Color in the chat in just a few moments here. When I first saw a list of legislative priorities, I was like, oh, okay, that's what this group is about. That's what this group stands for. Can I expound on that for a moment? Because while that's true, it's also us telling you, like, hey, these are the things that we are coming together and championing in all of our different states. Do me a favor, y'all. Drop in the chat what state you're in. What state are you logged in from? I am trying to get back to the Zoom. I shouldn't touch things. I should have somebody at all times that is able to manage tech. Where does Zoom go? Okay. The camera's still going.
I know. Where is the Zoom? Oh, here we are.
Did I kick myself off?
There you
Okay.
go. Let me make it a separate window so
You know what, y'all? I am in my full-blown auntie era.
It's okay. That's why teamwork makes the dream work.
It really does. Once upon a time. Okay, messy Maryland. Okay, messy Maryland. Florida, North Carolina, Washington by way of Texas. Y'all look at the different states that are represented just in the room tonight. Dr. McKamey, around how many members are in DNPs of Color? 401 members in DNPs of Color. That's a big coalition. Imagine walking into a room where policy is being discussed, 400 strong. That's what we could do if every one of us is championing the issues, the priorities that we have set. All right, now look at y'all. Okay, Joelle, I might just have to give you a bingo for this. Joelle has found their state senator, their legislative district. Yes, yes, yes. And this is for the state of, okay, you're in Maryland. All right, now that's how we get stuff done. We gotta know, we gotta know, we gotta know. I'm gonna share if I can ever. Oh my gosh, y'all, I just turned 45 and I'm like, what happened to me? I'm sharing it now. Y'all see these priorities here? Somebody come off mute and talk to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So these are DNPs of Color's 2026 legislative priorities. The first thing I want to say about this is that we are working in real time. This is not something that's set in stone. If something comes up and we decide as a group, like, yeah, we need to add this to our list, then we add it, right? So when you're looking at different bills, different pieces of legislation, different people who are in office and who you want to elect into your office, think about the different things that we are about in DNPs of Color. Workforce diversity and educational equity. Has anything happened on those fronts? I think so, right? I just found out, I think it was yesterday, that 24 states have signed on to a nonpartisan bill um, for litigation against the RISE Act, which I don't even want to say what RISE stands for because it's well, partly because I cast it right out of my head as soon as I read it. I was like, that is such BS. It is couched to look like a good thing, and it's a horrible thing. It limits nurses' lifetime student loan limits to what number, y'all? Somebody come off mute and tell me. How much, y'all? It was a $50,000 cut, right? Who needs more support to go through school? DNPs of color, nurses of color, right? So this directly affects us. Let's see what health equity and access to care. Okay, these are the things that we're about in DNPs of Color. And if you want to get on the field with us, if you want to get on the court, if you want to, move in a way where we have more power because we're moving together, these are the things that we're about. Targeted health justice, Black maternal health, right? Environmental justice, climate change, right? Civic engagement and leadership. This is happening all through the organization, from nurses shift change to our own policy committee to every one of you who showed up tonight to come and learn about civic engagement, how you can be involved and you can be a part of both the moment and the movement. So we've kind of fleshed things out.
No, it's not.
It's not sharing this one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I clicked.
Where are we?
This is like the music break DJ.
Oh, shoot.
Ooh.
We went into like the abyss.
Okay. Anybody else exclusively Apple products and it just burns you every time?
There we go.
Okay, are y'all seeing this? I don't see the green outline. What do y'all see on y'all screen?
Yeah, we see it now.
We see it.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So a little bit more about some of our priorities here, but let's go to this next page. Y'all see what do DNPs of color bring to policymaking? Deep expertise in clinical care, community health, health equity, and public health. And healthcare is one of those things that is always a major deal when we're talking about bringing new people into office. Healthcare is right up there. Who knows healthcare like we do, right? Other priorities are, expanding access to care in underserved communities. I bet you half of us in our DNP projects, in our work, have so much knowledge on our communities that we could just show up to a meeting tomorrow and speak intelligently about all of these things. Advancing primary and preventative care, promoting disability justice in healthcare. When something's a priority, that means that when you're looking at legislation, you're going, is this line up with what our priorities are? Yeah, go for it. Let other people in membership know what's going on in your state so that all the DNPs of color in that state can come together and lift their voices and make some motion. With 401 members, I bet we probably have over half of the states covered. So this is just a little bit more about our priorities. Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna try to back out. Hey, look at, I should turn my camera off when I'm going like this and trying to see things. Has anybody on the call met with a legislator before? Anybody here met with your legislator? Crystal, do you mind coming off mute and talking about that experience? Was it easy? Was it hard? How'd you do it?
I was with the group and it was easier than I thought it would be. And I really realized they have so many people talking to them and they don't know a lot about healthcare and they will listen to us.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that as soon as you say you're a nurse, people respond to that. They listen, they all kind of lean in, like we absolutely know something. Crystal, thinking about the commitments, do you think that's something that you might do individually or on your own? Do you think you know how to go back and do it on your own or
Yes, I think so. Just sharing stories of my experiences, the patients, their loved ones, and what I think the solutions are, which for me, mental health, we need funding, a lot of it. So
absolutely?
I think just being organic and authentic about what the needs are.
What state are you in?
I'm in North Carolina.
You're in North Carolina. Um,
Mhm.
do y'all mind if we go to North Carolina real quick and help Crystal meet with her legislators? Let's see here. What do you see on y'all screen? Do you see North Carolina General Assembly?
Yes.
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 Good. So y'all saw what I just Googled, right? North Carolina State Legislative website. Here we are. So Crystal's gone. She's met with a legislator before, and she's done it with a group. She knows that they're going to listen to nurses. When somebody sets it up, that makes it nice. You know, you go with your group. We're not going to be able to do that for 401 members. So we'll learn together. I've never been on the North Carolina General Assembly website before, but I noticed that right up here in the upper right-hand corner is a Find Your Legislators. A lot of times they want you to put your actual address here. I'm not gonna ask Crystal to do that. Does somebody know like the address to a Popeye's chicken or like I don't know, a church, a nearby something? Give me a North Carolina address that's not somebody's home address.
313 North Salisbury Avenue.
Now she's trying to embarrass me with
Sorry.
spelling Salisbury. Okay, I did it though. It's okay. So where we at, Crystal? Where we at? We at Popeyes?
Food Lion, a grocery
We're a
store.
food lion right now. I love it. So, guess what? You put the address in, and most of the state legislative websites look the same, or not look the same, but do the same thing. You put the address in, and look what comes up, right? Who's representing for the House, right? Addison McDowell in District 6. Well, what if I want to meet with, or I'm sorry, then you have the North Carolina House, Harry Warren, and in the Senate, Carl Ford. Which one of these people do we want to pick on? I'm just gonna say Harry Warren sounds like a name of somebody we might need to talk to. We don't know what he's up to. Let's see what he's up to. This will tell you his email. It's not going to go to him. It's going to go to his legislative assistant or his staffer, right? His legislative assistant is Christy Yates, right? This is the person that we want to be super cool with and nice to because we want them to let us talk to a Representative Warren. Okay. He is a Democrat or Republican, somebody tell me.
He's a Republican.
Republican.
He's a Republican. Let's see what kind of bills he's introduced. Hmm. You can read all about that here, right? No tax on tips, steady state travel allowance reimbursements. Interesting. Seems like he's a fiscally conservative type of fellow, no? Gun violence. So you can see what the bills were. So let's look at the Gun Violence Prevention Act. Sounds like something nurses might be interested in, right? What are these two no's over here? Was he a primary sponsor or a first sponsor? No, he was not. What has he sponsored? He has sponsored a bill about charges for credit and charge cards. How might this relate to nursing? Anybody? Why would nurses maybe care about House Bill 13 in North Carolina, charges for credit and charge cards? He was a primary sponsor and um the first primary sponsor. Well, when I think about this, I think about the cost of healthcare. Hello, I think about how people can go into bankruptcy. In fact, if I do believe, if I recall correctly, the number one cause of bankruptcy is medical bills, right? So how are we going to get the ear of this Republican guy? Let's see what this bill is about. It's a commerce bill, the Texas Public. I'm trying to be fast so I don't bore y'all to death, but you can view the available bill summary and look more into that. I'm not going to go super deep, but what I'm trying to get at is even if somebody in your district doesn't seem like somebody who is going to be easy for you to talk to, if I was talking to somebody like Representative Harry Warren, what I might do is have a conversation with him about how his constituents just aren't they're not able to afford their medical bills. They're going bankrupt. They're going to get him up out of office if something doesn't change. And in North Carolina, um, somebody tell me if it's a Medicare or Medicaid expansion state.
Yes, finally.
Oh, yes, finally. Okay, so what did HR 1 just do to Medicaid? More frequent eligibility reviews, right? People are having to reapply for their Medicaid a lot more often. And I don't know if it's like this in North Carolina, but in Washington State, when you check in for a medical appointment, nobody can even tell you if you're 2 days from losing your eligibility. So if I'm talking to Representative Warren, I want to talk to him about how um, HR 1 and the things within that bill or any other healthcare bills are hurting his constituents, who are the people who have the power to elect him or not. Thank you so much for playing, Crystal.
You're
I
welcome.
think we might have some for you as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and send you something in the chat. All right, so there are 16 people on this call. I'm curious if anybody has any question, anything that you're concerned about, anything that's kind of holding you back from reaching out to your legislator, making an appointment to meet with them, sending an email. What's going
Stefan,
on?
can I add something?
Please, 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 please.
So, a lot of times people wonder, well, I'm a Democrat, Republicans doesn't have anything in common with me, or vice versa. When you're looking at voting records, you want to look to see if there's anything that you support or you're glad they voted for, and that's your common ground with them. Just like, oh, I saw that you voted on, against, in favor of whatever protections for gun violence. You start off with something that can connect the two of you to show that commonality, and then you start talking about the other parts or what you bring to the table as a constituent, as a voting constituent of theirs, because they worked for you. Okay, and that's something that we tend to forget, that these are your neighbors in your area, that are doing what they believe is best for their constituents because they want to stay in office. So they want your vote. So they're going to look for commonalities. The other thing to keep in mind is they're they're local. They're going to be in different events in your area. If you're talking about city or state, they're going to go to different events. They're going to, politicians will network and meet with people. So if you don't go to the office, like I can tell you in my city, I've met the commissioner at local parties. I've met him at different places. So he's getting to know who I am. And I recently just bought property here. So now I'm like, as your constituent, let's have a conversation in a social environment. This is what it's about when it is getting comfortable with people at the city or the local level, all the way up to the state, and then possibly even federal level. I just recently I went to the Miami chapter Black Nurses Association gala, and I met one of our senators who is a DNP prepared nurse practitioner in Florida, which I didn't realize that she's been in office as long as she has been. So that is someone that I definitely networked with And we exchanged information, took photos, and I will be following up with her because she is going to be a great resource to kind of help guide me in the Florida waters here as we look into healthcare. And you know, it's those opportunities that really we need to take advantage of to see who can we meet, how can we meet people, and continue to network through these offices. The other part, if you do schedule to meet with a representative, do not be disappointed if you meet with a staffer. Their staffers are basically the gatekeepers of what information makes it to them. So if you develop a relationship with a staffer, that is great because they will take notes, they will document what you're saying, it'll be on record, and they'll filter that information along, and you can keep building that relationship to make sure that you can meet the representative, hopefully sooner than later, to be able to share your stories and how you're seeing healthcare in the communities they serve.
Yes, love that. Natira, I see your hand. Talk to us.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Crystal was shy in letting you know that we actually went to the North Carolina Nurses Association Nurses Night at the legislature. So that is what she was referring to when she said she spoke to a legislator recently. There was at least 300, maybe more, between nurses and legislatures that were actually there. We were quite disappointed that there were a lot of empty name tags that were left name tags of legislatures that were supposed to be there. But for the ones that were there, it was a great opportunity to speak to them. And Crystal did mention to him, kind of went right in and was like, so what are we going to do about funding for mental health in North Carolina? So I love that she had that energy. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I'm not sure if other states are doing that, but it is something that I know she and I intend to go to every year. And we went in connection with Piedmont Black Nurses Association, and there were a lot of DNPs of Color members there as well. So it was a wonderful opportunity.
It's almost like DNPs of color are starting to be known in all the spaces. They know about the conferences. We're everywhere. I love that so much. It's so incredible. And for the next time that you go to meet with them, just by saying, "Oh yes, I met with you before on Nurses Legislative Night," da 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 da. That's keeping that relationship going. You have their ear. They're remembering. Oh yeah, I remember that night. I remember some of the questions that came at me, and developing those relationships. Super super dope. Um, all right, y'all. I know at the beginning of this call, after Dr. Rummon talked about nurses shift change, and I asked how many people were there, two folks raised their hand, three if you count me, four if you count Dr. McCamey, right? Have the rest of you gone and checked it out? Have you gone to the website, right? It's time. This is our moment in this movement. Check it out. What other questions do y'all have? Who's a student? Who's a student in the room? Any students? Let's see here. What? Hold on now. We got graduates. Who all just graduated? Who all just graduated?
Crystal?
Crystal! Who else?
Yes, I graduated May 8th.
Who was that? Whose hand is that up? Alita. Let me see here. Is that a question or another graduate? Alita? Let me put my camera back on. Let me get my camera together here because yes, 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 we did. Yes, yes. And a lot of us had some policy in our projects. It's crazy to me how much I feel like nobody cares about the stuff I care about. They don't really, this is my nerd stuff. Da, 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 da. I promise you, talk to these legislators if there's legislation or issues in your community, in your state, and you've done a DMP project on that junk, Nobody can talk to them like you can talk to them. That's what's up. Go us, go us, go us. I know where them Tams at. Hey, hey. I love it. I love it. Okay. There's some folks in the room that I don't know. Are all y'all members of DMPs of Color? We have something special coming up. We have a DMPs of Color student while we're talking about graduation who is going to be sharing about their project, and we definitely want to leave time for them. But before I turn it over to Ms. Natira, what I do want to make sure is that you all know um, that if you're not a member, you should be a member. I hope you all know that we are going to be in Detroit. DMPs of Color is going to be in Detroit this October. I could spend the rest of the time that we have together talking to you about how dope this organization and the conferences are. It would never do justice. You've got to be there. So I'm inviting you personally, whether you're going to be on the policy committee or not, to join DMVs of Color, to come rock with us in Detroit so we can see each other in person, so we can get fired up together. You've never been in a room like the DMPs of Color conference room. Natira, I want to turn it over to you because you have got an audience full of folks who are here to learn. And I heard that you had something to teach us, something to talk to us about that you happen to be an expert on. And while I'm eating this delicious food and listening, I'm going to be thinking about how your project ties into the DMPs of Color legislative priorities and how we take your moment and turn it also into a movement. You ready, girl?
I think so. I'm sorry. Bear with me. It is raining here and my dog is freaking out and he's over right by me. So if there's a little turbulence with my laptop, it's because of him. So am I able to share my screen? I have like a small little presentation that I can share. I'm super excited.
You should be able to share your screen.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Okay. I don't know if anybody can see that. Okay. Can
We can see
everybody
it.
see it? Okay. I have too many things up, so I am not sure what you can see. Um,
It's a PowerPoint for mobile
You can
mindfulness.
see it? Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm losing my camera to know what I'm looking like while I'm talking to you all. But nonetheless, I appreciate the opportunity to do this and to speak with you all. As she said, I'm Natira Holmes. I'm a EKU DMP student, proud doc member, looking to graduate when this project is completed in the summer. So I appreciate the opportunity to share with you what my project is about. It's entitled The Mobile Mindfulness for Stress Reduction in Black Women Nurses with Superwoman Schema. How many of you have heard of the Superwoman Schema? Not many.
That sounds like allostatic load.
Oh gosh, you when you said that earlier, it's actually in one of my presentation that I did on the Superwoman Schema recently. I did have allostatic load in there. And that was just that resonated with me when you mentioned it, but want to be mindful of everyone's time. So when I advance the slide, are you able to see the next slide on
Yes.
Yes.
it's on Dr. Cheryl Woods Giscombe? She
Yes.
actually conceptualized the Superwoman schema in 2010, and I'm in North Carolina, and she teaches at Chapel Hill. I have not had the pleasure of meeting her, but it is on my bucket list to do so. If before the end of this project that I do, I definitely want to meet her very soon. I have had the pleasure to collaborate with one of her colleagues, Dr. Latonia Chalmers, who's also a member of DMPs of Color, and she has agreed to help me meet Dr. Giscombe at some point. But I also have to make sure I mention Dr. Roberto Roman, who has been my preceptor and mentor throughout this project also. But the Superwoman schema, what is it for those that not have heard of it before? It is these things here, these 5 characteristics that all of us can kind of feel. Definitely understand what that feels like. Obligation to present strength, suppression of emotions, resistance to vulnerability or help seeking. A lot of us don't ask for help. Some of that is a cultural thing, especially when it comes to mental health. Determination to succeed despite limited resources. And as you mentioned, Dr. Nixon, with the RISE Act, we're being limited even further with resources as far as funding for school. Obligation to prioritize caregiving over self-care is a big one. But out of all of those characteristics, how much of that do you feel you can relate to just being a nurse? So this resonated with me actually from the DNPs of Color conference theme last year on rest and resistance. That's actually when I first started learning about the Superwoman schema. And I was thinking to myself, if there's many of us as Black women who experience this, I definitely felt seen knowing that there was someone who had a name for it. But then I thought about how many of us do this just as nurses in combination with being a Black woman in this society. So it's kind of a double whammy. And for me, being a military veteran, I feel it also in a third whammy, which at some point I may want to do some research on with that as well. But moving forward with this, my project is aiming towards a 4-week intervention using the VA Mindfulness Coach app for stress reduction to help with depression, anxiety, and just overall mental health and well-being as we navigate everything that's happening right now in society and just existing. The VA Mindfulness Coach app is free. I have used it myself. A lot of my patients at the VA where I work use it. It was initially developed to help patients, veterans who had PTSD, but as we know, mindfulness has been shown to be helpful for mental health overall and well-being. So this project really is just to see if any Black women nurses who identify with the Superwoman schema are able to notice any stress reduction after 4 weeks of using the VA Mindfulness Coach app. It is a self-guided app. There's modules in there. There's practices in there. There's ways to document how long you've done the practices. And it's just a project just to see if that will help. It'll be pre and post test of the perceived stress scale. And there are some demographic questions and some questions at the end, along with weekly check-ins just to see how things are going. The next part, this is the inclusion and exclusion criteria. You do not have to be a member of DNPs of Color, but if you know someone, I was hoping that some of us as members would be willing to help me recruit for this by sharing on social media. I will be posting it in the Growth Zone platform along with my LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you can and are willing to help me with recruitment and just share that information to help me. And then the exclusion criteria is here as well, but it's pretty straightforward project design. There are weekly check-ins I did mention earlier, and this is the benefit just to see if it helps. I think the big thing is that I have seen some studies that have asked people to use the mindfulness for an hour once a day or every day. Mine is only asking that you use it for 15 minutes, 3 days a week over a 4-week time period. And that's just to be realistic in all of the demands that we have as women, as mothers, caregivers, mother figures, caring for our families, and then doing our job as nurses and nurse practitioners. And with the inclusion criteria, I did not mention when I said that it was all nurses, it's any nurse. It could be a nurse, an LPN, all the way up to a DNP or PhD prepared nurse that is willing to participate in the project. And that is pretty much the gist of what I have. If anyone is interested, here are my references. And then here is a QR code linked to my email address, my student email address, if anyone is interested in participating. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for sharing your project. I know you mentioned that you were going to post it in the growth zone. And Dr. McCamey is saying, yes, put the link directly in the chat. We want to participate. True
Will
story,
do.
y'all. true story, my first publication ever. I was working with a group of Black women scholars at Western Washington University, where I teach. The primary investigator had a stroke and died before we could finish the project. Had a stroke and died. And do you know what our project was on, y'all? It was on exactly, or what our article was on. It was exactly on your work, Natera. It was about well, you could Google it if you know, but it was about Black women working in predominantly white spaces and the stresses that comes with that. So your work is so important. It's so timely. And I hope that, I mean, pretty much all of us can find some way to participate, to support it, to share it out. Y'all, we are down to the last 20 minutes of our time together, and there's just a couple of things that I want to make sure that you all are aware of. I'm so glad that you said growth zone. If you're a DNP of Color member, you should be on the growth zone. That is our private area where we chat. It's the members only section where you can go in and you can see what people are doing. You can connect with folks that you've met at a conference, because you're going to meet so many cool DNPs of Color at the conference. It is also where I'm going to be putting the link to the advocacy toolkit that will really walk you step by step through everything we talked about tonight and then some. So you have how many calls to action now? Check out Nurses Shift Change. Join DMPs of Color if you're not already a member. If you are a member, make sure that you are logged in and registered with Growth Zone. See you in Detroit in October. There's quite a few things happening with the conference and in Detroit. You can come and you can register and you can just come and enjoy all the things, but you can also help make it a wonderful conference. When you go to the website, you can nominate a nurse as a legacy or a legend. That might be, I'm trying to do this off dome. Well, you can submit an abstract. Hello, if you can talk to DMPs of Color, if you can present your work there and share it there, you can definitely meet with and talk to your legislators, okay? Um, Register, submit an abstract, donate. Oh my goodness, y'all, you know what's going on in higher ed right now, and not just higher ed, but there's some issues with getting funding for things that say of color. One of the things that I love about our fearless leader, Dr. McCamey, is she's not backing down from language. We're not getting an email that's saying we're not going to call ourselves DMPs of Color anymore. We're just going to call ourselves docs or whatever, right? But you better know that making those decisions comes with a cost. And that cost is sometimes people don't want to be associated, people don't want to work, people don't want to put their money behind it. So if you are working for an organization or you yourself have a business and you want to, make a donation or help get a sponsorship, tell people about DNPs of Color, tell them about the conference. They can find out how to sponsor the conference on the website, which is an incredibly wonderful, wonderful way to support not just the work of DNPs of Color, but the work of all of the members. The early bird registration is rapidly coming to an end, June 1. I can tell you about a time I missed the early bird registration and all I could do was kick myself because I knew I was going to the conference. I was just going to end up paying more because I missed the registration. Put it on your calendar, make sure that you're getting registered, get that early bird rate. Tell your mama, tell your friends, tell whomever. Mamas be coming to the conference. Yes. So now we have several calls to action. Please talk back to me. Please, somebody come off mute and tell me which one of those calls to action that you have done in our time together tonight. Have you checked out Nurses Shift Change? Have you joined DMPs of Color?
They signed up for an event.
Did you sign up for an event? Virtual graduation is coming up. I have my own personal to-do list going on now. I'm like, what I've been doing, graduating, but it's time to get on it, okay? All right. Michael Williams. What was extended? abstract submissions have been extended, which is incredible because those of us who are graduating and just did not have time to be doing anything else right now, and we're taking a breath, we can actually go ahead and submit our abstracts. Super inspiring, especially to new members. I will never forget my first DNPs of Color conference ever. Just seeing all the support, seeing the work that people were doing. Dr. McCamey and I had a moment yesterday or the day before where she had come across this picture of one of the first times was that the first time we met face to face in Seattle, Washington? I wasn't even back in school. I was like, I'm not going back to school. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But you know why I did it was because representation, being able to look out and be like, dang, she did it. All of them did it. I think I'm going to do this. And I got my acceptance letter less than a month after that meeting. So students, we need you. You're inspiring the next generation. And y'all are also the ones who are closest to this student loan funding issue. Usually we know this as DMPs of color. The people closest to the problems are the ones who solve them. Those are the ones who are relentless. Those are the ones who are meeting with their legislators and telling them how this is going to affect them and therefore the communities that they work with. Dr. Williams, Dr. Michael Williams works closely with the students. I want to make sure I give you an opportunity over there on the left coast. He's in my stomping grounds. I'm over here on the East Coast. He's over there on the West Coast. Are you able to come up mute, brother?
What's up? What's up, y'all? I don't know if y'all can hear me because my service is going in and out.
We hear you. You on the ferry still?
Yeah, I'm on the ferry. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm midday in my work schedule, but there's a sneaker raffle that I gotta go to. So I'm on the ferry, and then I'm gonna head back to work. But yes, shout out to all the students. Shout out to y'all graduating. I'm gonna go back on mute.
DMPs of color are truly everywhere. Washington State is beautiful. Y'all should come see me sometime. Maybe we'll have a conference out there sometime. Patagonia Black Conference. Yes, yes. You can wear Birkenstocks. We see the Dr. McCamey, the McCamey Dewey Award. So is this the nomination? Yep. Due in August. All of us, when we go to present our work, we're talking about somebody who's had a significant impact on our work. I even heard that tonight. So yes, let's make it good. Let's make it good. Okay. Group photo. Come off their camera. Can y'all come off your cameras and take a group photo? And if you graduated, where them Tams at? Let's go. Dang, and it's so light out there too. Yes, yes, yes. Where y'all at? Okay, now. Okay, now. I don't know how to do a screenshot on a computer that's not a Mac. Let me get the chat out the way there. Ooh, look at the DMPs of color. Is it still light outside? Roberto, where you at? Or is that a background? What?
About to take it on a count of three. One, two. Wait, hold on. One,
Montserrat.
why isn't that working? Command Shift 4. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. All right, one, two, three. Bam. All right.
Oh, Montserrat's on camera now. We got to do it. 1, 2.
Oh, I got to do it again.
Yeah.
Michael, come back on.
We killing them.
All right, one, two, three. Hey, we did it. We did it. We did it, Joe. Oh, damn.
That's what's up. So, I talk so much and I never end early. I'm like amazed. Should I hand this over to our fearless leader, our rested leader?
I'm incredibly proud of Dr. Barron Nixon for leading us in this policy effort. I've been pushing her and Roberto, our policy co-chairs, to really provide this education for us because we need to be out here in these streets. Like, I'm sorry, like nobody's going to save us but us. And so we have to rise to the challenge. And first is knowing the game and knowing the player. So I'm excited to, fill out my player's card. Y'all saw my little gift, the player from the Himalayas. But I love the opportunity for us to connect as a community. And also, yes, shout out to Devin for saying, please get into the growth zone community because we need some engagement up in that piece. And I know that it's different from Glue Up. We did have orientation earlier this month. It is recorded. So it'll help walk you through how to access your account and stuff like that. And if you don't have access to your account, hit up support at dnpsofcolor.org just so that we can start reconnecting in there. And also, every third Wednesday, I'm hosting a CEO community connection. So for the past couple months, I've been in the CEO connection by myself. So last night, I just recorded my CEO connection. So if you log into Growth Zone, you can peep what I was talking about. But again, thank you so much for joining us tonight on a Thursday night this late. We over here having a feast with pizza, wings, salad, some chocolate cake on the in-person joint. And this is the game room that we're in. So we about to play some games or we about to eat some food, but I put the pictures in the chat as well. So but connect with us. We love to be of support in any way, shape, or form. Thanks, Natira, for sharing your DNP project. We look forward to the support that you'll get with that on that important work because a lot of us have and are dealing with that Black woman schema. So with that, I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have any parting words? I see, I thought I saw Dr. Yvette Conyers, who's our chair of our DEI committee. She bounced.
I have to say one quick thing, and I know I've been talking a lot, but I'm gonna make this quick because I think I just heard our CEO say she was sitting by herself on CEO Connection. I would just love to know how many CEOs y'all have access to and can sit down with and connect with and learn from. Thank you so much for saying that. That was every third Thursday?
Wednesday.
Every third Wednesday. There's something for you, for the students, for the new folk. Let me tell you, game changer, trailblazer, all the things. And her time is precious. We can't just be picking at her whenever. This is time she's giving us to come to learn, to connect. Okay, I'm really done now, but by yourself. Well, I want to thank all of you for coming, for learning, for committing. Get on the growth zone, and there will be a toolkit there for you within hours from the end of this call that you can walk through step by step and be a part of the moment and the movement. I look forward to seeing you in our virtual events. And I very much so look forward to seeing you all in Detroit. Register before that early bird is up. Get your money. Stack your coins. You'll need them for the flights. You'll need them to buy swag. Thanks so much, y'all.
Good night, y'all. Thank y'all
Good
for
night,
coming
Good
out.
y'all.
night,
God bless. Good
everybody.
night.
Good night. Thank you so much.